Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. So this is another book review, and this is the book review on The Sea Witch by Sarah Henning. So I will read over the synopsis and then go from there. So everyone knows what happens in the end. A mermaid, a prince, a true love's kiss. But before that young siren's tale, there was three friends, one feared, one royal, and one already dead. Ever since her best friend Anna drowned, Evie has been an outcast in her small fishing town, a freak, a curse, a witch. A girl with an uncanny resemblance to Anna appears offshore, and though the girl denies it, Evie is convinced that her best friend actually survived, that her own magic wasn't powerless after all. And as the two girls catch the eyes and hearts of two charming princes, Evie believes that she might finally have a chance at her own happily ever after. But her new friend has secrets of her own. She can't stay in Havenstead or on two legs unless Evie finds a way to help her. Now Evie will do anything to save her friend's humanity along with her prince's heart. Harrisness, the power of her magic, her ocean and her love until she discovers too late the truth of her bargain. So, sort of to sum it up, um, this was a 5 out of 5 read for me, or 5 out of 5 star read for me. Um, I was drawn into the story right away, but then again, anyone who knows me or knows me well, The Little Mermaid has always been and will always be an all-time childhood favorite of mine. It doesn't matter really what rendition I read. And I have read the original version by Christiana, I can't think of his name. But I've read the original and I've seen the original when it first came out in the form of sort of an anime style movie where, she dies in the end. She doesn't have the happily ever after that the Disney one portrays. So I've read and seen just about everything Little Mermaid related so far. And so I picked up this one and was immediately drawn in because I've been reading a lot of fairy tale rereads or retells, and I've been finding it really interesting to get the perspective from the villain's point of view. Because there's 9 times out of 10, there's a reason why the villain becomes a villain, and there's almost always a reason why they do what they do. Um, Disney is very good at making the villain make it out to seem like they're evil, and that's it. It's cut and dry. But that's never really the case. So, in this story, it follows sort of how Ursula becomes Ursula, although eventually she is called that. That's not who she is now. She's known as Evie, or at least that's the name that she goes by in this one. Um, so, as the synopsis mentioned, there are three friends. So Evie, Anna, and then the friend that they mentioned as the prince, who is Nicholas. And the three of them are inseparable basically since they were kids. And the young one, Evie, ends up learning from a very young age that her family is a family of witches. And within the town that they live, that is very frowned upon. Um, it used to be that, they were sentenced to death if they were found out, but in this case, they have tried to get past that and they'll just become outcasts and they'll be banned from the town. And luckily for her, though, her family has been known, specifically her aunt has been known for being what they call the healer of kings. So when someone gets sick or badly injured, she gets called in to come and heal them, not realizing that she's a witch and that's what she's using to heal them, which works to her benefit in the future. And through different, turns of events, Evie ends up discovering what magic means and the costs and the consequences that go with that. Now, it mentions in the synopsis that, her friend Anna had drowned. So, in the beginning, and I won't go over too much, but as it's mentioned in the synopsis, I can mention it freely. She does drown. There is an event, they're playing in the ocean, and as the ocean can be very unpredictable, as beautiful and treacherous as it is at the same time, it decided to take Anna's life. And you end up learning later on the story that goes with that. And you get to see both perspectives, both from Anna, who's the victim, and Nicholas and Evie, who are the survivors. And you get to experience the survivor's guilt and everything that goes with that, as well as what happened to the victim and her point of view. You end up learning and seeing so many different things, and the basis thing that ends up ruling most of the story deep down is revenge. The girl that suddenly appears and looks like Anna. um, I won't spoil anything, so I will leave out what I want to say, but she ends up being driven by revenge and ulterior motives for herself, despite the fact that she comes across as a very well bred, very simple person. And, friendships get formed, and you end up learning that Evie is just a victim of circumstances. And the only reason why she ends up as an octopus, as a sea witch at the bottom of the ocean, is because she makes certain sacrifices, and she ends up trying to save those who she loves, and the penalty ends up being that she ends up giving up her own life as a human. And at the small turn of events, she ends up as an octopus at the bottom of the ocean. And you all know that's where she ends up, so it's not much of a spoiler to mention it. But this book, I loved it. I loved the friendship circles. I loved the bonds. I loved the story that went on. Um, Revenge and wanting that is one of the oldest story driven plots that there is. It just comes in different forms in various stories, and it was definitely one that I enjoyed the most. I read this book a little over a week ago now, as it is currently the 11th, and the book has still stuck with me. I can't get it out of my head. I have read several books now since then, and my mind keeps going back to that one. I can't get it out of my head. It's one that I keep revisiting. I really enjoyed the story, and I want to know what happens next. There is a sequel coming out, or rather already is out, and I have it, and I look forward to getting into it, hopefully very soon. But it's definitely one that I would recommend to anyone who enjoys a good fairy tale retelling, um, and enjoys learning more about what happened or why the villain becomes the villain, so to speak. So, no, definitely one I really enjoyed. And again, it's one that has stuck with me and will probably continue sticking with me. This has become one of my all-time favorites, I think, at least for this year. I have a long list of favorites that I'm starting to create, and this one has definitely made that list. So for me, this is a 5 out of 5 view, or 5 out of 5 star review. Um, so yeah, I appreciate you all for tuning in and listening. For those of you who are new, I'd encourage you to like, share, and subscribe. And for those of you who are an existing follower, I greatly appreciate your support. And I will see you all in the next video.